Brian's playing tonight.
Obviously, we know his skill set and the speed and the energy and all that, but in a game like this, with so much on the line, how much does maybe his personality also help? Obviously, I know he's the guy that loosens up the rest of the guys a lot of the time.
Yeah, great energy that he brings to our room. But to give him credit, he also brings it when he wasn't in the lineup. You know, the last change was made after a couple of overtime losses where we shifted players in and out, and we rip off 6 in a row. And I'm not looking for a change at that point, but God, he had a great week in that time. Understood it. And you got to work at that. Like, you're just not a happy guy every day, or you're not playing in the NHL. Like, life's not like that. So he was really good in practice in the warm-ups, pumping tires, making sure everybody feels good. And I think that meant, for me, that when he comes into the lineup, he doesn't have to, if he had been sullen and disappointed and shown that, then he has to change his personality to come back into the lineup. Now is he running around the room high-fiving everybody? But his personality then didn't change when he was out. So when he comes into the room, he walks in, he's the exact same guy he was 5 days ago when he wasn't in the lineup, and everything's normal.
Back left.
Paul, I enjoy listening to you every time you're there, and I think you like us, but it's only game 5.
That's all a charade.
It's only game 5, and it seems to be very long. How you deal with the duration, lack of a better word, of the final, and how do you make sure to keep your guys focused and making sure that it doesn't become too much of a grind?
Yeah. You got more energy now than you had 6 weeks ago. Right? We don't start here. We never went with this whole, like, I use the word journey because I got to talk a lot, and that's the word that comes into my head. But we didn't start this thing looking out, you know, where we're going to be 2 months from now. It's an FU fight right from the start, right? You just get in the battle and go. And as you get along, everybody's bodies get a little bit tired, but mentally you get more juice. There's more energy around it. So I do. I come up here. So one of the challenges is dealing with the media over 8 weeks. And if you spend a lot of time thinking about it, it can be an energy drain. So I don't. I come up here, I tell you what I think. I don't try to game it too much. Yeah, I steer it certain days. I mean, there's a leadership component to this. But I found a really good way to kind of conserve the energy that you might burn trying to shape a lot of things, trying to game the system, trying to send messages, you know, on all parts. It's just wasted energy. So I come up and say what I think, and I'll be out that door and not remember one word I say.
Left side, second row.
How would you assess Matthew Tkachuk's performance in the series so far?
Yeah, he's been good. Like, I will throw this back to a comment earlier. You become desensitized possibly by McDavid and Draisaitl, and we've got stars too. But it's not going to be flashy every shift in his game. The inside play that he makes to Bennett on the goal is an incredible play, right? I don't expect that every time he touches the puck. So both teams have really good players. Both teams' power plays have been quiet, and that's why both teams' star players' numbers are what they are. But he's fairly close to leading our team in scoring, and we just need solid out of each guy. That's what we're looking for.
Left side, first row.
Paul, it's really hard for a team to go to the final 1 year, lose it, and get back to the final the next year. It's hard for a team to, what your guys have done all year, which is really appreciate each other. Mm-hmm. Like the Lomberg situation in the playoffs is a great example. Like, he's cheerleader number one when he's not in. Why is, I know hockey rooms are different by nature, but why is this room so much different?
Don't know the answer to it. I can just tell you that it was apparent to me when I got off the phone 2 years ago. And I've told this story, and it's 100% true. You get the job, and then you just set out to call every player, and I hang up the phone. These guys are different. I can't explain it to you any better, but these guys are different. They're in a good mood. They talk about each other differently than I've experienced. And listen, I've been really, really lucky. I haven't had a real tough room in my entire career. I've never had a room where the players talk about each other in such a positive way. Celebrate the other player's accomplishments, not, well, if you played me more, I'd do what he does. There's none of that, right? And also highly interactive group. So in those conversations, they're asking you questions about your kids, about all of it. It was just completely different. So I'm going to say it comes from them. that connection that they have, the enjoyment, and it goes back to your question about how do you survive the grind, brotherhood, friendship, community. There's not everybody is going to be happy every day, and you walk into the room and there's a positive buzz going around. You never slip into that negative side. You get pulled back into the good feeling, and that's what that room really is all about. I guess that would have been a better answer and more truthful about it. Would be there's a tremendous sense of community that it goes now then out beyond the players into like our training staff. They all got a million stories, right? They're all part of it. The medical team, all of them. It's the group.
Take two more questions, standing up on the left.
Paul, you've been working with Pascal Vincent for a long period of time in Winnipeg. I can guess in the middle of a Stanley Cup final, it might be harder to give him a call, but what could be the advice you're going to be giving to Pascal?
Yeah, I sent him a text. I didn't see it till this morning. Sent him a text and promised to connect with him when both things settle down. I know the man almost more personally now than I do as a coach. I mean, what he was great at is when I asked a question in the room, he would pause, wait, and give me a very concise answer that over time I started to realize he was just right. And if he didn't know, he said he didn't know. But you didn't have to spend 20 minutes waiting for the smoke to clear to get to the point the guy was trying to make, and he could have made 20 minutes ago, right? He's very good at that. And then that's a strength. And then his other, you learn from the people around you. He cared about the players. So, like in any room, I don't know. I don't think this is necessarily true, but you might be grinding 2 or 3 guys, and those days for those guys aren't always nice, and the words back and forth aren't always kind. And he would never not go to a player. If a player was struggling, he would go every single day, even if he was, it was contentious at times. He's incredibly principled man that I think we saw at times over the course. Hard decisions that not a lot of people necessarily would agree with. But he would
Last
never
question.
cower. Did you want me to finish, or did you?
My apologies.
8 o'clock game, man. We got time. The strength and character of him. He's a special guy. So there's a place for him in coaching for sure. And I do think he has the backbone to be a head guy. Last question,
Yeah.
just in case it needs to be cleared up.
I'll try finishing.
I'm sorry, I did, but get over here. Get something.
How many times have I done that?
Jeff and I used to hang together at the World Cup. That's why we're tight.
Coming back to the game tonight, obviously you want to come back to what you did well during these playoffs and maybe forget a bit about the last game, but is it important to balance between forget what happened but also learn from it?
Well, the learning is more important than the forgetting, for sure. Started that process 2 minutes after the buzzer went. We would learn from, we've had 2 other games, I think, that look very similar to that, and both in similar situations. So we have to learn from it, because that is the gift of Game 4, is a brand new experience that really maybe only 1 or 2 other players had, and coaches. We've got a couple of guys, 3 guys that have had that experience. Just not a lot of people who had that experience. Then we can draw parallels to the similarity of the other events in that game. And then once that is learned, then the entire ideas come back to form to our team. This is what we're good at. This is what we do.